Welcome everybody to Common Sense Christianity. As always, I'm your host Ethan Foster, here today with another episode. And before we begin, finally have a verse of the day, and it comes from Isaiah 40, verse 28 through 31. And it says, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint." That is Isaiah 40, verse 28 through 31. And guys, if you haven't already, go check out our podcast. Go follow our Instagram and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Spread the word about Common Sense Christianity to anyone that might be interested in the topics we discuss. And if you have any questions for me, you can email me at commonsensechristianitypodcast@gmail.com, or you can just leave a comment on the video and I will respond to it as quickly as possible. So today I'm going to be discussing the moral problems with atheism. So there are of course problems with any belief system we may hold, but I'm going to attempt to show the moral errors in atheist beliefs. I'm going to make two main points. So point number one, atheism fails to provide the moral and cultural structure needed to build a society. So this is a point that many apologists often make, and Dad, stop, really. Anyway, so I'm gonna be careful with what I say because I don't want anybody misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not saying atheists can't be good people, nor am I saying that all morals come from a religious structure. However, I do ask atheists what makes something right or wrong, because without no superior justice system, without any God, there is no moral structure. It is just human opinion. Now, you could argue that it was either man-made or evolutionary derived, but you would have to deal with why should we follow it, because there are a lot of things that are in evolution that control our genetics and control our behaviors that we can just simply ignore. So why should we abide to these moral structures that evolution has provided? And point number two, atheism fails to explain the reason we should value our fellow human beings. Basically the point I made before. So why should we be quote-unquote moral people? We are just trillions of cells moving around. What gives us value? Again, I'm not using this as proof for any beliefs I hold, but these are questions people haven't given me good answers for. So again, leave it in the comments. Religion, whether good or bad, provides a moral framework for society to function. The Old Testament makes clear that everyone is bad in the image of God, in a sense. I ask atheists want you to provide the answer in the comment section. Again, I want you guys to give me objections, to give me questions and answers, and I'll respond to it in the next video. But to sum it up very briefly, atheism fails to explain the moral framework that we all abide by. For example, atheists often object to this cruel God argument, in a sense. The Old Testament God seems to most people to be a cruel, a very judgmental, and somewhat evil God to the average person reading the Old Testament. But what are you objecting to if there is no moral framework that we can abide to? It is just your opinion against the Old Testament writer's opinion. So what is there to discern between the two? So now it's time for my favorite part of the show. We're going to talk about a couple comments from Virtual Willis, who often comments on pretty much all of my videos. And here's the question. So, if you have two possible explanations for a phenomenon that you can't explain, wouldn't you generally want to prefer the explanation that has the fewest number of additional assumptions? For example, if $100 is missing from your wallet, it could be aliens, ninjas, a classmate, or forgetting that you already spent it. All four would explain the missing money, but the last one needs the least a number of additional assumptions that seems far more likely than the other three, even if you consider yourself to have an excellent memory. So in the same way, if someone is able to make a perfect future perfect future predictions, they might be in communication with a powerful supernatural entity that can see the future, or they might be a time traveler. That's a big step between the two. The second explanation only requires that time travel is invented between now and however long humanity keeps developing technology. So I answered the question in the comments, and I forgot which video he made this particular comment on, but that is still a huge assumption of itself. We have no idea on whether human beings will be even capable of such a remarkable scientific feat. So to that I say, I think the evidence for the resurrection, which we will get into later on in the video series, I think the evidence for the resurrection is very good. I think that is a much less likely proposal, and I think we'll go ahead and close with that. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of Common Sense Christianity. As always, I'm Ethan Foster, your host. Make sure to check out our podcast and make sure to subscribe to this channel and tell everybody you know about it that might be interested in our topics. And until next time, I'm Ethan Foster here with Common Sense Christianity.